It was the end of my senior year. We were all supposed to be excited. Excited about moving on, excited about starting our own new lives, excited about becoming adults. Except none of us got to experience that feeling. Instead, we were scared. Instead of being excited about prom, excited about graduation, excited about finally going to college, we were scared for our 5 classmates, scared that what everyone was saying about them was true, scared that they really did do it. We were scared that they wouldn't graduate, and scared that they would go to prison. 5 of my friends were all arrested, 4 of them in school, and I remember the day was just crazy. No one knew what was going on, no one had any idea what they were arrested for, and we wouldn't find out until later that night when we went home and watched the news, and this is the clip that we saw.
5 high school students in Niles are facing serious sexual misconduct charges tonight, and 4 of those 5 were arrested during class. While none of the incidents happened at the school, tonight the Niles Daily Star is reporting that the charges have to do with a sex tape the teens allegedly made involving younger girls. One of the victims was younger than 13 years old. Catherine Rufner from our affiliate in South Bend was in court when the teens were charged today.
I'm supposed to graduate in 9 days, and I'm graduating with honors. I'm still in school, sir, and I'm doing everything in my will to try to get through high school.
They're the desperate voices of young men, legally adults, but emotionally very much teenagers.
I just really need to graduate high school.
18-year-olds Parnell Martin, Leon Murphy, Martise Washington, Trey Nichols, and 17-year-old Martell Miller all face charges of criminal sexual conduct and extortion. Other charges include possession and production of child pornography and surveilling an unclothed person.
Kids nowadays have a hard time understanding that I can legally have sex with another person, but I can't possess a picture of that person.
Some of the alleged crimes date as far back as January. Most were committed in March.
There may be more than one incident, but it's one investigation.
It is alleged that on...
What we know is that there were 4 victims and at least 1 is under the age of 13. For now, the futures of the 5 men arrested are uncertain, and what police say the men most likely never realized is that these mistakes could cost them the rest of their lives.
I think they were living in that moment at that time, and none of these consequences this day did not enter their mind at all.
I'm supposed to be attending Western Michigan University, and I have a scholarship to go there, and everything is all set in stone. And I have a good future ahead of me.
That was Catherine Rufner reporting. The teens face up to 20 years in prison if convicted.
As I looked into the cold eyes of the mugshots that were my 5 friends, I realized that no matter what you think you know about a person, no matter what you hear about them, you truly, really don't know anything. And at this point, I learned that I needed to put my faith in the justice system to make sure that if what was said of these boys to what they did, that they are held accountable for their actions. While the news was mostly accurate, they did say some false things about the 13-year-old girl. There was no such girl involved. That was completely false and ill-reported. But they also weren't able to give the exact story over the air. And in the coming weeks, through the beginning of the trial and talking to some of my friends, I learned exactly what happened. My friend Trey had videotaped Martise having sex with the victim, and then Parnell, Leon, Martise, and Martell allegedly told the victim that if she did not perform oral sex on them, they would leak the video to Facebook. The girl unwillingly performed oral sex on them, and then weeks later she thought it was too much to bear, and she went to the police. After all these facts came out, the trial slowly began to drag on. Eventually, Martell, Parnell, and Trey were able to post bail, and they were released on house arrest. I went and saw Trey, who told me exactly what was going on in the trial and kept me up to date on things. He told me that everybody was prepared to go to trial and that none of them did it. For a second, I thought that maybe they were innocent and that all of this was just a big lie. Shortly, I learned otherwise. Leon was the first to accept a plea deal. In exchange for testimony, Leon was only sentenced to 7 years. Shortly, everybody else also began to take plea deals. The only one that went to trial was Martise, who is now in jail for 20 to 40 years. Trey, Leon, and Parnell also all took plea deals, and they were sentenced from 5 to 7 years. They are serving their time now, and each have about 6 years left expected to serve. Martel, on the other hand, continued to push towards his trial. A day before the trial, Martel was able to take a plea deal, and he has to serve only 6 months. He is expected to get out within the next month and return home. All defendants, other than Martel, were forced to register on a state sex offender list. While at first it was difficult for me to believe that my friend did such terrible things, I was eventually able to trust the justice system and watch as justice was served. I learned that even though I thought I knew these kids, what they did was terribly wrong, and it was a great thing that our justice system was able to bring them down and that they're now serving their time.